All right, let's jump right into a really interesting diagnostic puzzle. Picture this. You've got a truck. It's not charging. So you do the right thing, you swap in a brand new alternator. And hey, it works. The battery's charging perfectly. But there's just one problem. That little warning light on the dash, it will not turn off.
And that's the exact kind of crazy situation technicians were up against with a Volvo FM370. The new part is doing its most important job, but the truck's system still thinks something's wrong. It's not just annoying, it's a mystery. So, where do you even start to solve something like this?
Well, before we can figure out what's going wrong, we've got to be crystal clear on what right actually looks like. We need that baseline, right? So let's do a quick walkthrough of how this charging light system should operate on a perfectly normal day.
It's actually super simple. Step 1, you turn the key to the on position, but you don't start the engine yet. The light comes on. That's just a little bulb check. Basically the truck saying, yep, I'm here, I'm ready. Then, step 2, you fire up the engine, the alternator starts doing its thing, and that light, it's supposed to turn right off. That's it. Simple.
Okay, so our problem truck, it's nailing step 1. No problem there. Key on, light on. But it's totally failing at step 2. The light just stays on, even with the engine running and the alternator pumping out juice. And that right there is our big clue. It tells us the instrument panel isn't getting the specific turn-off signal it's waiting for.
And that leads us to the star of our show today, a little something called Terminal L on the alternator. You can think of this as the dedicated communication line. Its one job in life is to send out a big, loud, all-clear voltage signal to the dashboard as soon as the alternator starts charging. That signal is the command that tells the little light to go to sleep.
So, if we're going to investigate this signal, we need to know exactly where we're looking. For this Volvo truck, we're honing in on the alternator connector, specifically pin number 2. That's our terminal L, and the wire you'll find there is yellow with a red stripe. This is our crime scene.
So the technician hooks up a multimeter right to that yellow and red wire while the engine's running. This is the moment of truth. What is terminal L actually saying? Is it sending that all-clear signal, or is it sending, something else?
And boom, here's our first piece of hard evidence. The reading is just half a volt, 0.5 volts. Now, you don't have to be an electrical engineer to think that sounds kind of tiny, right? Especially for a big truck system. It's a signal, yeah, but it's a really, really weak one.
So, half a volt, is that enough? The only way to know for sure is to have something to compare it to. We need a control. So the technician went over to a different Volvo truck, one that's working perfectly, to measure the exact same wire in the exact same way. This is where the whole case breaks wide open.
All right, let's put them head to head. On one side, we have our faulty truck with its weak signal. On the other side, our healthy truck, where the light turns off like a charm every single time. So what's the difference?
First, a reminder of our problem truck. A tiny signal, just half a volt.
And now, the healthy truck. Get this, the reading is 26 volts. 26! That's not a little different, that's a massive, enormous difference. It is over 50 times stronger than the signal coming from the new alternator.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it? I mean, look at that. The half-volt signal from our problem truck barely even shows up on the scale next to the huge 26-volt signal from the healthy one. It's so obvious now. The instrument panel is waiting for a shout, and all it's getting is a whisper.
And that's really the heart of it. The system is designed to listen for a strong, confident signal. That 26-volt message is what it needs to hear to say, okay, cool, alternator's working. I can turn the light off. That 0.5-volt signal, it's just background noise. The system can't even hear it.
So, the verdict is in, and it is undeniable. The wire is fine, the dashboard is fine. The problem is coming from the source of the signal itself. The brand new alternator, even though it's charging the battery, has a critical flaw.
To be specific, the internal circuit that's connected to terminal L is defective. It's just a straight-up manufacturing fault. So the part can do its main job, which is making power, but it completely fails at its other important job, telling the rest of the truck that it's working.
Here's a super handy way to keep this straight. Just remember, terminal L is for light, and it sends an output signal. Terminal 15, on the other hand, gets an input signal from the ignition switch to wake the whole thing up. Knowing L is out and 15 in is a huge help in diagnostics.
So let's wrap this all up into a simple, step-by-step diagnostic plan. First, confirm the alternator is actually charging.
If it is, but that light is still on, go right to that yellow and red wire. If you're not seeing something around 26 volts with the engine running, you can be almost certain the alternator itself is bad. And the final proof? Just swap it with one you know is good.
And that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Let's play a little what if. What if you ran this test and you did get 26 volts at terminal L, but the light was still on? What would that tell you? Where would you look next? It's a fantastic question, and it just goes to show how even a simple warning light can teach you so much about a system. Thanks for tuning in.